All right, let's talk about something that is just super frustrating. You've got something really important to say, right? You've practiced, you've prepped, you deliver it, and then crickets. It just falls flat. So in this explainer, we're going to dig into exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how you can fix it for good.
I mean, you know the feeling, right? That big presentation, that job interview you really wanted, or maybe that super tense budget meeting. You walk out of the room and you just have that sinking feeling in your stomach. You know you just didn't connect. It's like the real point, the thing you were trying so hard to get across, just got lost somewhere in translation. And what's our first instinct? Well, we immediately start picking apart our own performance. We ask ourselves, was my voice shaking? Did I look confident? Was that opening line any good? We're totally wired to focus on how we said it, the delivery.
But what if I told you that all that stuff, all that focus on your delivery, is actually secondary? What if you miss the one thing that truly matters, the thing that decides whether you win over the room or completely lose it?
And that one thing is what we'll call the unspoken question. See, here's the secret. Every single room you walk into, every audience you ever face is silently asking a question. And if you don't figure out what that question is and answer it, well, nothing else you say is going to matter. Okay, let's make this real. Picture a classic job interview. They ask you that classic question, so tell us about yourself. But the real question, the unspoken one they're actually asking, is, can we trust you? Can we trust you with this job, this responsibility? Your whole answer needs to be about building that trust, not just, rattling off your resume. And see how the context totally flips the question? Okay, now let's switch gears. Imagine you're in a budget meeting. You're not just there to present a cool plan, you're asking for their money, for resources. The unspoken question in that room isn't, so what's your plan? It's, is this idea worth the risk? Is it worth the money we'd have to put on the line? Or hey, how about senior leaders? They're always thinking big picture, right? The 30,000-foot view. So when they ask you for a simple update, their real question is, how does your little piece of the puzzle fit into our giant company's strategy? They need to see that direct line, that strategic connection. So here's the big takeaway, the crucial shift. Average communicators, they focus on delivery, but the really great ones, they focus on context first. They walk into a room and their first thought is, okay, what is this room really asking me? Because the answer to that question changes absolutely everything else. And this shift in thinking creates a totally different approach. You stop obsessing over things like, how do I sound, or do I look confident? Instead, the expert is asking, what's the real question here? And what does this group of people need from me in this moment? Seriously, that little pivot in your focus, it's the whole game. Okay, so the big question is, how do you actually figure out what a room needs? Well, here's the good news. It almost always boils down to one of just three super fundamental communication needs. And getting this right, it's like having the key to unlock any room you walk into. That's it, just three. And I want you to think about this for a second. Every single time one of your messages has fallen flat, I can pretty much guarantee it's because one of these three crucial needs wasn't being met. And here they are. The three core needs are clarity, credibility, and connection. Sounds simple, right? But trust me, they are incredibly powerful when you know which one to lean into. So let's break them down really quick. First up, clarity. This is basically, do they get it? Is your message simple and easy to understand? Then you've got credibility. That's, do they believe you? And do they believe you're the right person to be telling them this? And finally, connection. This is all about, do they feel like you get them, like you understand their world, and that your message actually matters to them? Okay, this is where all that theory turns into a practical tool that you can start using like today. Let's look at exactly how to shape your message to answer that unspoken question by giving the room exactly what it needs. So, before your next big meeting, before that important conversation, I want you to just pause for a second and ask yourself this one simple diagnostic question. Out of clarity, credibility, and connection, which one does this room need the most from me right now? Because your answer to that question directly changes what you do next. Look, if they need clarity, you lead with the bottom line. Just get straight to the point. If they need credibility, you've got to show your work. Show them the data, the thinking behind it. And if they need connection, you start by acknowledging their world first. Something like, I know the budget is tight, but here's why this is still so important for you. You see,
This shift, this move from focusing on yourself to focusing on the room's unspoken question, that is the line between good communicators and truly great ones. It's about being a detective first and a speaker second. And the most amazing part of all this, it doesn't mean you have to completely change who you are or how you speak. Sometimes the entire difference between being heard and being ignored, it's just one sentence, the one sentence that answers their real question. So as we start to wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one thought. The next time you're heading into a high-stakes conversation, don't just prep what you want to say. Take a minute and think about the question they need you to answer. What question will your next room really be asking? Because at the end of the day, it all boils down to this one idea. Great communication isn't about a flawless delivery or sounding perfect. It happens when you deliver the right content in the right context. When you answer that unspoken question, that is what makes people sit up and really listen.